Hello, and welcome to Crime in Court. My name is Heather, and this is another Delphi update. We usually have several motions and things going on throughout the week because this case is ongoing. There's always something happening, and that is also the case this time. So this week has been quite busy. We're gonna go over a couple motions, and then, as you can see by the title and the thumbnail of my this particular stream, it says concerned citizens send letters to Judge Gull and more motions. So we'll go through the motions first, and then I'll talk about these letters, which are very interesting. So, all right. First of all, on the 27th of this week, so I believe that's Wednesday, the court issued this. The court, having taken defendant's amended motion to compel and request for sanctions under advisement and having reviewed the state's response filed March 23rd, 2024, now denies the defendant's amended motion to compel and request for sanctions without hearing. So, if you couldn't guess, Judge Gull was going to deny the sanctions and, all that stuff. And to compel discovery. She doesn't even allow them to get the discovery, which is ridiculous. So, yeah, she's something else. So she has denied them basically every single motion that they've asked for, except the one for the speedy trial, because that is actually something she could not deny by his on his rights for his speedy trial rights. She can't deny that. So that is an order that she put out this week, and now we know that Nick McClelland, who has been doing things like reading ex parte motions, which are ex parte meaning not for the other side, it's just for this one side. So if the defense files an ex parte motion, that means the prosecution should not even look at it, shouldn't even read it. And it's not for their eyes. So it's only for the court and for the defendant's side to see. However, there was an ex parte motion, at least one that we know of, that Nick McClelland quoted himself, or cited in one of his sources, or filings. Now I'm getting all flustered with my words, but you guys know what I mean. In one of his filings, he cited an ex parte motion, which means he obviously read it. And where he got it from, we don't know. How he got access to it, we don't know. All right, the next thing that I'm going to read, this is a filing from the defense, and it is a limited appearance for the defendant. The undersigned attorney listed on this form now appears in a limited capacity, in this case for the defendant, Richard Allen. This filing is intended as a limited appearance with the understanding that counsel will be assisting the client, Richard Allen, and attorneys Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rosie with matters related to the service of process and future depositions of Federal Bureau of Investigation agents associated with the investigation and prosecution of Richard M. Allen. So there are FBI agents investigating the prosecution of Richard Allen? Interesting. Counsel further anticipates in assisting defendant Allen and his legal team with digital forensic issues surrounding the investigation and prosecution of defendant Allen, including but not limiting to conducting discovery, depositions, and courtroom examinations during the same. So this Jennifer Auger is now appearing as a limited capacity. She is now an attorney for Richard Allen for his defense. It looks like she's going to be dealing with the FBI, so that's really interesting, and any other things surrounding the prosecution of Richard Allen. So, Something maybe with it. I wonder what her specialty is. If maybe she's like with, you know, people's constitutional rights or something that she supports. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't looked into her at all. If anybody knows, in the comments below, that would be great if you could let us know, all know. And if you could also like this video. I always forget to say that at the beginning, and I kick myself for it every time. So please like this video if you are interested in the Delphi case, and be sure that you are subscribed so that whenever there are filings, I usually compile them because there's so many and sometimes it makes sense to put them together. But also I can't keep up with them because they're so fast. So I like to compile them. So it's just something that is easier, I think, for us to read through. So this is the next filing from Richard Allen, and it has to do with his funds. So in another, I think in another episode, I'm not sure if I actually shared the order. It was one of these minute orders that just looked like this, where it was just denied. But she denied his, she denied any funds for experts for Richard Allen. So Richard Allen is already indigent, as they call it, or whatever. So he doesn't have the funds for private attorneys, so he can't hire his own attorney. So he has public defenders, which are awesome public defenders. I mean, he couldn't have had better ones. Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rosie are his current attorneys, and now this Jennifer Auger. So we're going to read what they are asking in this next motion regarding public funds. So comes now attorney Bradley A. Rosie and respectfully requests that this court authorize the expenditure of public funds to reimburse attorney Jennifer Auger for legal services rendered on behalf of pauper defendant Richard M. Allen. In support of said petition, attorney Rosie swears and affirms as follows. Number 1, defendant Allen, having been previously determined to be indigent, is currently represented by public defenders Bradley A. Rosie and Andrew J. Baldwin. 2, a speedy trial is currently scheduled to commence in the matter of May 13th, 2024. 3, the volume of discovery and evidence that exists in this case is unprecedented and has been articulated in various defense pleadings previously filed with this court, of which defendant Allen incorporates herein by reference. 4, one small but extremely important part of the prosecution's case and of Richard Allen's defense is the existence of digital forensic information, including but not limited to information obtained from the victim Libby German's cell phone, as well as information extracted from a cell tower near the crime scene. And 5, over the past several weeks and through the vehicle of discovery depositions, the defense has attempted to identify the state's witness and or witnesses regarding the digital forensic information obtained during the investigation. The process has involved some trial and error, but the defense now has reason to believe that the state's witnesses regarding the digital forensic information are agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation or task forces associated therein. 6, the defense has attempted to order up the depositions of certain FBI agents and appear to be part of this investigation. Said discovery attempts have been burdened by the necessity of satisfying the 2E process, which requires the submission of documentation and pre-approval by the FBI in order to simply sit down and take a simple deposition of any particular agent. There also exists the burden of the passage of time, which naturally has created scenarios where those involved in the investigation are no longer employed at their former location or in their former capacities. All of this is the cause of logistical delays. Number 7, attorneys Rosie and Baldwin have very limited time and therefore need assistance in this process and the process of vetting the digital forensic evidence involved in the investigation, which there comes Jennifer Auger. Attorney Rosie and and Attorney Baldwin have sought out the services of Attorney Jennifer Auger, who practices in Franklin, Indiana, near Attorney Bradley's office, where she would have easy access to the pertinent discovery of this case. Number 9, Attorney Auger simultaneously herein has entered her limited appearance in this case. We just read that. Number 10, Attorneys Rosie and Baldwin believe that it is in the best interest of Defendant Allen and in the interest of judicial economy that Attorney Auger assist Defendant Allen and Rosie and Baldwin by addressing the circumstances surrounding digital forensics in this case, and therein request that this court, so that must be her specialty, is for digital forensics. So they request this court order the Carroll County Auditor to reimburse Attorney Auger for costs associated with her services at the same hourly rate as that which Attorneys Baldwin and Rosie are currently being compensated. Said reimbursement would be contingent upon the court's pre-approval of Attorney Auger's submitted invoices. And 11, Defendant Allen has been consulted and consents to the entry of Attorney Auger's limited appearance in this case and for the purposes referenced herein. And it is signed by Rosie and Rosie. Rosie and Rosie. So there you have it. There are some logistical reasons, especially with the forensics, the digital forensics, and they need some help there. So they're asking for the court to compensate Jennifer Auger. If you're not aware, because of the expert, because Judge Gull decided that she was going to deny his rights to funds for experts. She has denied that. So now he is up against the state, who has all the resources, and he has nothing. So in order for it to be fair, they have to give him money in order to hire experts who can counter-argue the experts on the state side. That's how court processes work. But Judge Gull, in her infinite and unbiased wisdom, decided not to give him money for it. So in the link to this video, I am going to post a crowd source funding link that was created, I believe it was created by David Hennessy, and it's to basically raise money for experts for Richard Allen so that he can at least come on a somewhat level playing field. But we'll see. So hopefully he can make his meet his goals so that they can hire their experts, and I will put that in the link again, so, or the description. So this is so as the thumbnail states, concerned citizens of the world, probably of the US somewhere, have been onlookers of this case, like you and I. We're watching these cases, and people are not happy with Judge Gull, and they're making their voices heard by filing ex parte motions that the court can read. So it's basically a letter to the judge. These are all letters to the judge. Whether she reads them or not, that's up to her, but anyways. So this one is from, I'm just going to say a Mary M. It's on there, but I don't want to dox people. All right, so she says, I don't know how much you would actually care about this email. Probably not at all, but as an onlooker of this case, it is very worrisome. I agree. Hoosiers have seemingly lost faith in our judicial system. So she must be from Indiana. And our law enforcement because of the way this case is playing out. It only makes sense that this trial is streamed so that the citizens of the state can possibly gain some trust for our law enforcement and our judicial system. It is very hard to read, so I am like really focusing. I can't zoom in anymore. I have it as zoomed in as I can on your screen, but it's hard for me to read, so I apologize. Where did I leave off? You need to show the citizens of Indiana that we all still have our rights and that law enforcement and judicial systems are true to our law and rights. Even people in our countries are commenting in other countries, are commenting on how they believe this case is run. It is the job that you were elected to do to make sure that Indiana residents that are brought in front of you receive a fair, unbiased, and constitutional process of law. So if you could please consider that your fellow Hoosiers need to be able to watch how the justice system will make sure that the possibly biggest, most high-profile case in Indiana history isn't some case full of corruption and unconstitutional rulings. Oh my God, I love this. This is great. It is you that will get the blame for allowing an innocent man to be found guilty or a guilty man walking because his constitutional rights being violated. Make everyone honest. Keep the story straight. Everyone will come out of that courtroom with false or exaggerated information. Show the world that you are the right person for the job and that you care for the rights of everyone and your fellow Hoosiers. Sorry, I need to readjust my eyes. It's so slow. Oh, so tiny. Fellow Hoosiers. All right, put some faith back into our state to show the people around the world that Indiana isn't just filled with a bunch of corrupt leaders. I know that I am just some nobody, and you probably won't even read this. People around the world are watching this case. The public has the right to see this case to the end. Streaming this trial will prevent thousands of people coming to Delphi, and there will be thousands. People all over the world wanting to come and watch what happens in this case. Please consider what I have said. Damn girl, thanks Mary G. That was great. All right, now I gotta, what do you guys think? I thought that was awesome. She said a lot of things that I think a lot of people are thinking, especially people in Indiana, thinking that their law enforcement is extremely corrupt. Is that too big? Yeah, a little bit. All right, that's good. All right, so this next one is from Monica P. Honorable Judge Francis Gull, I am writing to you as a concerned citizen closely following the case of Richard Allen, who has been charged in connection with a high-profile crime that has captivated the attention of not only the local community but also observers around the world. It is with a heavy heart and a deep sense of civic duty that I express my concerns regarding the transparency and integrity of the legal proceedings in this matter. This case has been marked by significant public interest, and with Richard Allen having spent over 515 days in solitary confinement without trial, I added that emphasis. Concerns regarding the fairness and timeliness of the legal process have been amplified. The documents and evidence made available to the public have raised serious questions about the integrity and honesty of the law enforcement response to this tragedy. It is crucial to underline that these concerns are not merely personal opinions, but reflections based on the information and documentation released to the public. Given these concerns, I implore you, as the presiding judge in this case, to consider the paramount importance of transparency in these proceedings. Allowing for the real-time streaming of the trial would serve as a critical step towards ensuring public confidence in the judicial system or process. In an era where access to information is both a right and expectation, such a measure would significantly contribute to upholding the principles of justice and accountability that are the bedrock of the legal system. That's beautifully said. Who is this person? She's wonderful. All right, so moreover, recent revelations suggesting that Mr. Allen may not have been present at the crime scene at the time of the unalivings only add to the urgency for a fair and transparent trial. It is imperative that the trial process not only seeks to deliver justice for Abby and Libby, but also ensures that it is true that It is the true perpetrators of this heinous crime who are held accountable. Well said. In closing, I respectfully request you, as a steward of justice, make decisions that prioritize the public's interest in this transparent and fair trial for Richard Allen. This is not only essential for upholding the integrity of our legal system, but also for ensuring that justice for Abby and Libby is achieved in the truest sense. Thank you for considering my concerns. I trust in your wisdom and commitment to justice to guide your decisions in this matter. Sincerely, Monica P. And lastly, this is the final ex parte communication received for the court. And it's received from LGW. Honorable Francis Gull, I am writing asking you to reconsider your denial of cameras in the courtroom in the Richard Allen trial. I understand you have been a proponent of cameras in the courtroom and that you were part of a pilot program for such. I want to say to you that I support cameras in the courtroom for all cases and feel it would give citizens a feeling that justice is being fairly served by our judicial system. I would like to share with you what I am seeing in this case as to why I think cameras are so important. I am going to tell you each instance of what I have seen, how it made me feel, and why I hope to get clarity by watching this case in real time. I love when people put their thoughts to pen or computer keyboard and make change. I love it. Okay, so number 1. It appears that Richard Allen went voluntarily to help an investigation after the public was called upon to come forward to help police with any information that may help catch the perpetrators of a horrific crime. It appears he, like I would have in the past, wanted to help. What I have seen in response is that he was arrested with a PCA that appears to be falsified with no supporting documentation signed by a judge who appears to be so terrified that he excused himself from the case. Lovely. This makes me feel all of my 62 years thinking that stepping forward to help the police is a very bad idea. I will now never step forward to help the police. I have told my children and grandchildren not to ever step forward, and that if they are ever stopped by police, to not speak to them. This is beautiful. Okay. Ask for an attorney immediately. Aren't the police supposed to be our friends and protectors? No, they just want to arrest people. All right, 2. It appears that the defense is being prohibited from being able to defend their client in a proper manner, and that their client, had they not come forward with their statement and memorandum, may very well not be alive today. Wait, hold on. Let me read that again. It appears that the defense is being prohibited from being able to defend their client in a proper manner, and that their client, had they not come forward with their statement and memorandum, may very well not be alive today. Okay, that is what it said. So if the Frank's memorandum didn't come forward, they're saying Richard Allen might have withered away to nothing in that prison where he was being mistreated. It appears that a man who is by our Constitution considered innocent until being proven guilty was being mistreated and outright tortured as if he were a prisoner of war, yet has never shown violence of any kind. Even the Geneva Convention prohibits this kind of treatment of prisoners. As a regular citizen, this is terrifying to see and to hear. Number 3, it appears that law enforcement and the prosecution have destroyed evidence, falsified evidence, and obstructed justice by, quote, losing unbelievable amounts of interviews and other evidence needed for a fair trial. They have, quote, forgotten who and when they interviewed people, even going so far as to say they have lost the name of the professor who had pertinent information regarding third-person guilt. Fingerprints appear to have been, quote, lost. A bullet has magically appeared after a crime scene has been thoroughly combed over by trained CSI. So the bullet was found after the area was already swept once. So how does this happen? A citizen finds it? There is no chain of custody. How does this happen? How do we trust law enforcement and prosecution? How horrific to have come forward to help and be sitting in prison, treated worse than a war criminal, yet much of what would prove I am innocent is missing or destroyed. Number 4, with number 3 above in mind, how is it that the prosecution and law enforcement can continue to try to remove the defense when they themselves have what appears to have been committing perjury and obstruction of justice? Why is this? How can making an easy email mistake and having someone you trusted and consulted with in the past totally betray you compare with outright falsifying other people's testimony on a PCA and with intentionally hiding the name of a man who has education in a subject that provides other more likely persons of interest? How can it be okay for this many interviews and evidence to be, quote, lost with no repercussions for the people who were negligent? Is this intentional? For my eyes as a citizen, it sure looks that way. I agree with you, LGW, or whatever your name is. All right, so number 5, it appears that the parity that is supposed to exist in our justice system between those who have and those who have not the ability to pay for defense services is not being upheld in this case. I am not a rich person. It appears to me that were I arrested, I would not be able to expect a fair trial by having my defense paid in a timely fashion. That's the other thing. Richard Allen's defense attorneys aren't getting paid. Ever since they've been put back on the case, Gull hasn't approved their payment. This woman needs to be behind bars. It makes me freaking livid. Sorry. I know there's my whatever my Richard Allen is guilty people out there, and they're gonna down vote me or whatever, thumbs down me, because I don't like Gull, but she should be behind bars for what she's doing. It's criminal. It is criminal. All right, where was I? I don't know. I was in the middle of a sentence. It appears to me that were I arrested, he wouldn't have a fair trial. I wouldn't have a fair trial by having my defense paid in a timely fashion, nor for my defense to receive funding to provide expert witnesses on my behalf. Is our system only for those with great wealth to have a fair trial? It appears that way. How many other citizens are sitting in prison right now because they were denied what is supposed to be their right to fair and equal representation? I have found a whole new respect for those that defend the accused in court. Exactly. The defense team, they are the ones who represent our rights, the citizens' rights. Defense attorneys defend us. The prosecution doesn't defend the Constitution or the citizens. It doesn't. The only thing that it has in its own sight is its own objectives. So if you have a prosecutor who doesn't always play by the rules, then you're going to have unfair trials. And that's the way it is. And it's not fair. Anyways, so where was I saying? Or where were we? Is our justice system only for the wealthy? How many other citizens are sitting in prison? I have found a whole new respect for defense attorneys. Okay. They are making sure anyone accused is found guilty and incarcerated by facts, not fiction, because it's the prosecution who puts out the fiction, the narrative, the original narrative to the media. It's the prosecution who does that, and law enforcement. But they're the ones that create the narrative, and that's what's heard. And then the defense doesn't usually get to speak if they want to preserve their right to silence, to remain silent. Then you usually don't hear from them until the trial, like opening statements from the defense attorney is when you're first hearing basically from that defendant, because they're trying to remain silent. All right, anyways, so let's move on. How many other citizens? I'm hoping you will rectify this by approving payment to Richard Allen's defense, and that you will approve payment for expert witnesses so that there truly is parity in this defense. A proper defense should not have to be paid for by fundraising, since we already have this right. In closing, I will share a bit about myself with you and something I experience in my teeny tiny business. I have a business in which I care for people's beloved family pets. In that business, I have cameras throughout the business so that pet parents can check on their pet 24/7. I like this person. I have other cameras throughout the business showing that there is someone there doing what those pet parents entrust us to do. So if you're supposed to feed them 3 times a day, you expect to see someone in there feeding them 3 times a day and taking them for a walk and whatnot. So I have seen other businesses such as mine refuse to use cameras because they don't want pet parents watching them. My answer to that is, quote, if you are doing your job, if you are doing nothing wrong, why would you not give peace of mind to your clients, end quote. So, Your Honor, I am asking you the same. Why would you not give the citizens of this country the peace of mind to see that our system, paid for by our tax dollars, is doing its job and that it can be trusted? I hope you will reconsider your approach to the cameras, as well as making sure this is actually a fair trial. I want to have peace of mind that my country's justice system actually works to protect its people. At this point, I feel nothing but fear and sadness with what appears to be going on. Will I be next? It could be any one of us. Will one of my children be next? It is absolutely horrifying. Thank you for reading my email. I hope it provokes thought and that we will end up being able to see real justice in the end. Have a wonderful day, LGW, a loyal citizen of the United States of America. Please pardon my not signing in my full name, but I am scared of the repercussions of doing so. If you need it, I can provide it confidentially. Damn, what a good letter. And I agree with everything that these concerned citizens have said, and I really hope that Judge Gull actually reads it. I think more people should be sending these. I don't care if that means whatever. I have freedom of speech, and I don't agree with Judge Gull and her rulings, and I think more people should be sending letters like this in this case, because Richard Allen needs our support, and it's just disgusting what Gull and McClelland and law enforcement are doing over there. So thank you for watching this video. Please like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it lets you know when I post more Delphi videos and other videos that I'm working on. I do deep dives of, I've done the Karen Reed case. I've done the Wisconsin versus Zachariah Anderson. Why that word was not coming out of my mouth. Zachariah Anderson. Sorry. Wisconsin versus Zachariah Anderson. And right now I'm also doing another Wisconsin case, which many people probably have heard of, which is Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey. We're going to go over wrongful convictions, evidence, go over, court documents and all that. So if you haven't been watching, please go check those out. And thank you again for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye now. If you've been impacted by a true crime and would like your story told in your own words, or if you or someone you know has been wrongfully convicted or accused of a crime, please write to crimeincourtchannel@gmail.com and tell us your real true crime encounters. Thanks for watching.